Every single week, I see business owners making the exact same hiring mistakes. They bring on the wrong people, they waste months of time, and they end up thinking, maybe I should just do it all myself. But it's not that you're bad at hiring, it's just that no one taught you how to do it the right way. So in this video, I'm breaking down every single hiring mistake that I've seen after helping over 500 business owners hire top tier remote talent. The goal is to save you months of headaches, save you thousands of dollars, and finally help you. So let's get into it. Mistake number one is hiring out of panic. So with this mistake, you just waited too long to hire. You let problems accumulate. You let yourself get stressed out. You let things break down in your business before you actually went out to hire somebody. The reason this is a huge problem is that when you go out and you hire reactively, you're gonna lower your standards. It's far better to have enough time to go through a ton of candidates, do proper vetting, and make sure you're getting the right person for the long run. If you don't do this, it's gonna lead to the person doing the wrong work, you're gonna get misalignment, and you're gonna end up having to do a lot more fixing than you are leading. So here's what you need to do. You need to start forecasting hires based on workload, not emergencies. This means you need to be thinking out into the future. Block time every month to review your capacity versus your output. And what I personally love to do is I just build a bench. I always have a short list of potential candidates ready to go. So as soon as I need them, I can just tap into that pool and hire someone right away. Mistake number two is hiring without an actual clear outcome in mind. You go and post a very vague job description without any key responsibilities or roles in mind. And then when the candidates start applying and you start interviewing them, you're wondering why you can't find the person that you want. And then even worse, once you hire them, they're unclear and they underperform. If you don't know exactly what success looks like, how are they gonna know? Remember, you're the leader here. You don't want to end up managing confusion instead of performance. Before you go out to even post a job, you need to write down exactly what a successful outcome looks like for this role. You want to go and define the first 90 days of outcomes in KPIs. And you want to align the role with clear weekly deliverables. Mistake number three is prioritizing experience over traits. I think this is probably the number one mistake that most of our clients make. You're hiring for the perfect resume instead of looking for things like grit, coachability, and ownership. The most qualified person might not have hunger or drive, whereas the people without the experience on paper might just want the job way more, and they'll end up doing a better job. Sometimes the people that I've hired with less experience end up being my best long-term hires because I just mold them into what I want them to be. During the interviews, you want to ask people how they handle adversity and challenges and get real examples from them. You need to test their feedback response with real exercises and see how well they take feedback from you. Do they get defensive or are they coachable and have an open mind? This one's huge. You also need to look for signs of initiative outside of their job history. And if you don't want to gamble on resumes and spending weeks filtering through those traits, we can handle that for you. We place trained, vetted virtual assistants for any remote role, not just with experience, but with the coachability and mindset of true A players. Just hit the link below to book a free call. Mistake number four is skipping test projects. You go and interview people, you ask a couple questions, they're probably not even very structured, and then you hire somebody. And then later on, once you start working with them, you end up realizing they can't even do the work. Resumes and interviews won't show how they're actually going to perform under pressure. A real world test is going to show how they solve problems, communicate, and ultimately deliver. So here's what you need to do. You need to set up a real world test project or task for them and see how they do. If it's not something you're gonna do in an interview and a meeting with them, you need to set a real deadline to create some kind of urgency to see if they can hit the deadline. And obviously you need to evaluate the result based on quality, not just completion. Mistake number five is you didn't do any buyback math. You're delegating work to people without even knowing what your own time is worth. And as a result, you end up offloading the wrong things and wasting money. If your time is worth $200 an hour and you're working on stuff that's $20 an hour, you're ultimately the bottleneck in your business. Buyback math helps you prioritize what to delegate and what to actually work on yourself. So here's how you do this. First, you need to calculate what your time is actually worth. Take your total monthly income and divide it by the number of hours that you work in a month. That's your dollar per hour rate. The next thing you need to do, you need to go and list every task that you work on in the month. And then next to them, you'll write out what that task is worth on an hourly basis. And then ultimately, you only want to delegate things that are below your hourly rate. Mistake number 6 that people make is that they micromanage instead of delegating. And everyone hates to be micromanaged. You go and hire someone, but you still feel this need lead to just try and control every single little detail of what they're doing. You're constantly double checking their work, you're given step-by-step granular instructions, and you're ultimately just staying too close to them. The reason this is a massive problem is that this keeps you in the weeds, and the goal is to get the heck out of the weeds. And you're not really freeing up your time. You're really just supervising someone instead of delegating and leading. Real delegation, when done right, gives the virtual assistant ownership and allows you to focus on higher leverage work, which is really what you want. So here's what you need to do. First, you need to assign clear outcomes, not just tasks. If the person that you hired doesn't have exact clarity on what they're trying to do, then you're going to end up micromanaging them because they're not going to get the result you want. If they have a clear outcome, then you can just let them spread their wings and do their thing. You need to give them the authority to own the result, not just the process. Instead of micromanaging, you really just need to create review checkpoints instead of constant oversight. Mistake number 7 is you have a poor onboarding system. You bring someone on, you give them some logins, and you just kind of hope they figure it out. You don't have clear onboarding, you don't have any support, they're just off on their own. If you get off to a messy start with your new hire, it's gonna make a bad impression on you, it's gonna degrade the relationship, and it's probably gonna lead to some churn. Without proper onboarding, your new hire is just gonna be left guessing what you want from them. They're not gonna know how to make you happy, and they're not gonna be productive. So here's how you avoid number 7. First, just go and create a simple SOP list and onboarding checklist. If you end up becoming a client of ours, we'll actually give you this information. As you're training the person, go and film it on Loom and give them SOPs via Loom. And then of course, you need to set 30-day expectations and check-ins. Mistake number 8, which is huge, is not recording your processes. This is so incredibly important in today's day and age, now that we have AI to support everything that we're doing. So you definitely need to record every single meeting that you have with your VA. You end up explaining tasks verbally, or maybe even worse, you're just winging it. Nothing's documented. Every hire feels like you're starting from scratch. Without proper documentation, you end up being the knowledge base. You'll repeat yourself over and over and over, and your training is never really going to compound. So what you need to do is screen record all of the tasks that you're training the VA on. Upload these to a shared Google Drive and/or just put them in a Google Doc organized nicely for the VA. Then, if you have new hires who are going to be doing the same type of work, you can reuse all of this training material that you just created to train those people. Mistake number 9, which I think is huge, and you cannot be doing this, is you're hiring one-off freelancers for long-term roles. Let's be honest, you're a little cheap. You're trying to save some money by going on Upwork or Fiverr. And the problem is these people aren't committed. They don't see your vision because they're working with like a million different clients. And after they get the job done, they'll probably just disappear. You're going to lose consistency. You're going to lose momentum, and you're not going to build any culture. These types of short-term hires, the problem is they don't scale with your systems. They just end up stalling them. So here's what you need to do to scale your business. You need to, 1, invest in long-term hires from the start. 2, you need to build trust. You need to build loyalty because you want everyone to stick around for as long as possible, and shared standards. Everyone needs to be brought up to your standard. That's where culture comes in. You need to be paying more for your hires up front so you can gain more down the line. Mistake number 10 is just waiting too long to replace yourself. You end up staying stuck doing customer support, operations, and admin, even way after you should have delegated it. You believe that no one can do it as well as you, so you just keep doing it. Every hour that you spend on low leverage work is an hour not spent on growing the business. Your highest ROI is on strategy, it's on vision, it's on larger, bigger picture decisions, not on managing your inbox. So as you're going about your week, you need to audit your weekly calendar and categorize everything based on value. You need to use the replacement ladder like I've spoken about in other videos. Admin first, ops next, then delivery. And then just set a target for yourself to replace one task that you're currently doing every 30 days. So now you know every hiring mistake that business owners make, and more importantly, how to avoid them. Even if you fix just one of these, you're gonna be ahead of 90% of the business owners out there right now. And if you want done for you help actually hiring top tier remote talent, the kind of people who actually take ownership and make your life easier, that's exactly what we do. We find, vet, and place A-player virtual assistants directly into your business so you can finally stop being the bottleneck. Click the link in the description to book a free call with our team. And if you want to go even deeper on hiring, check out this next video where I break down Dan Martell's hiring strategy. I'll see you there.